How to succeed in an online interview. So you've got an interview, that's great news. The next step is learning how to present well in this virtual environment. Here are a few steps that will help you. To begin, here are 5 practical considerations to address before you start your interview. Number 1, do a tech check and get all your tech set up before the interview. So check that your internet is working, check that your camera is working, your audio. Check all those basics before you start the interview. Also check the software that you're going to be using, whether that's Zoom or Teams. Number 2, use a suitable background. Your background doesn't need to be perfect. The basic idea is that it's as clutter-free as possible so that it's not a distraction during your interview. I also recommend using a real background rather than a virtual one because virtual backgrounds can often get a bit glitchy and also be a distraction in the interview. Number 3, make sure you're well lit. If you find you don't have enough light, then you can use additional lighting such as a ring light. Number 4, make sure that your audio is clear and that you don't have background noise during your interview. Number 5, be sure not to get any interruptions during your interview, whether it's your mobile phone going off or someone walking into the room. Having good rapport with the interviewer is really important, but this can seem tough in a virtual environment. So here are a few tips that can help. Try to be and speak as naturally as possible, as if you're meeting them in person. Use facial expression or gestures. Greet them when you first meet them and don't be afraid to ask questions. Be confident. I know, easier said than done. The key to confidence is all about shifting your focus from yourself to others. So instead of thinking, what will they think of me? What if I mess up? Try not to think so much about those types of thoughts. Instead, think about what you want to communicate to your interviewer. What is it that you'd like to share? What do you want them to know about you? And focus on that instead. Another key to confidence is being well prepared. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel. And this includes everything from your tech setup, checking that everything's working, to being prepared about what you're going to say in the interview. Communicating clearly and effectively is essential for the success of your interview. There are a number of ways that you can improve your communication skills for your interview. One of those ways is predicting the types of questions that you may be asked. Think about what your interviewer may want to know about you and your skills and have some answers prepared. It's a good idea to have some stories ready to share that clearly demonstrate your skills and expertise. After that, it's all about clarity. Try to avoid waffle or going off on a tangent. Keep focused on what it is you want to communicate to your interviewer. Using body language in a virtual setting is of course different from face to face. One of the reasons being, of course, that you only see the top half of a person. So bear this in mind during your interview. One of the most important parts of your body language will be your facial expression. Unfortunately, sometimes when you feel nervous, self-conscious, or just being worried about being on camera, you can have a really blank facial expression. So be sure to avoid a blank facial expression and just use your facial expressions as naturally as possible. Using hand gestures can also add to effective communication online. The trick is to make sure you use your gestures higher up than normal so that they're in shot. Effective eye contact is also an important part of your body language and will help you to build rapport with your interviewer. Making eye contact in a virtual setting means that you're looking directly into the camera as you speak. However, this doesn't mean looking into the camera all of the time. It's important to look at the facial expressions of your interviewer to see how they're reacting to what you're saying. Be authentic in your interview. This can seem hard in a virtual setting because it's not a natural way of speaking to someone, and there are a lot of considerations to keep in mind, like your tech and looking into the camera and so on. So sometimes you can come across speaking in a very unnatural way. So the more you practice speaking on camera, the more natural you'll feel, and this will help you to be more authentic in your interview and be more yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions, especially when they ask you if you have any at the end. Questions show that you have interest and also that you've done your research on the position and have some questions to ask. A good question to ask your interviewer is there anything that you've said that leads them to believe that you may not be the right candidate for the job, in which case you can address their concerns in the interview. That's it for top tips on how to succeed in your online interview. Just remember, the more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel, and the more effectively you'll be able to communicate to your interviewer so that you can get the job that you want.